Good morning and welcome to the DFS Army YouTube channel. I'm Razzle11 and you can find me on X at Razzle11Grinds. Going to look at some pitching for today, the 9th of August. It is Saturday. We have a 3-game early slate and then an 11-game main slate. I will be looking at DraftKings as that is where a majority of my action is. If you do play in FanDuel, I will cut my pool in half or so. Pricing isn't quite as tight. You don't have to be as creative. It allows you to get stacks you want with an upper tier-ish pitcher. This is a first look. I do not believe there are any weather issues at all. I'm just including this 3-game slate because it's actually the one that I'm doing content for on the site. So might as well just touch on it really quickly before we shift over to the 11-game main slate. As far as this 3-game slate, it's Framber Valdez, obviously the top tier pitcher on the slate. Not the easiest of matchups for him, but the Yankees do rely on enough left-handed bats in general that I think he is definitely in play for us. Luis Gil on the other side definitely looked rough in his debut. A lot of hits, walks. That was against the Marlins. I am interested a little bit, but I kind of want to temper expectations. Probably just sprinkle him in. Wisenhunt and Waldrop are probably the guys that I'm more interested in at this point. Wisenhunt was alright in his last start. At least I'm pretty sure it was his last start that he was right. Yep. Definitely a decent prospect. Pitching in a great ballpark against an offense that's kind of struggling. I think he makes sense as the SP2. Waldrop looked really good, getting called up. It's a fast track, a first rounder that was fast tracked to the majors, probably a little too early. Not a huge K guy, especially for a first round pitcher, but the big issue here is Miami's offense has been rolling pretty strongly. But I do think he's viable. I do think Gusto is viable making his debut with Miami. Atlanta was just dominated yesterday by Cabrera. Gusto is not the same kind of pitcher, but his last start before being traded was strong. So I'm interested for sure. I think one of these two pitchers in this game actually has a pretty strong chance of being the SP2 when all's said and done. I don't mind Lord, but I'm just probably not using him. I don't think he has enough upside. Obviously, I like the ballpark. Not too worried about the matchup, but even if he does, some of his best work like he did here against Houston, is good enough for less than 13 fantasy points. Not really a number I'm interested in getting out of my starting pitcher, even on a 3-gamer. Jumping to the main 11-game slate here. Kind of go game by game. The A's Orioles, not going to be interested in pitching in this ballpark. Perkins kind of intriguing, but it's more I want to see what he does as he gets stretched out. Probably throws around 70, 75 pitches, but neither pitcher is really viable for me. Cleveland and the White Sox. Sean Burke's had some decent starts, but he hasn't been very good against Cleveland. Cleveland woke up yesterday, or last night, pretty well. I'm just not going to get to Sean Burke. He is in consideration, but I can tell you I'm fairly certain I'm not getting there. Cantillo on the other side. I don't mind Cantillo. Pitching on the road where he's been at his best. Strikeouts are pretty strong so far this year. I didn't realize he was striking out that many batters. So because of that, I'm interested. I don't really love left-handed pitching against the White Sox at this point, but I do think Cantillo is worth consideration on this slate. Kansas City, Minnesota, I'm just not using Bailey Ober. Just really hasn't looked good much of the season, and we know that Kansas City doesn't strike out all that much. 2 starts against them, 7 strikeouts, and 12 2/3. It's been pretty solid aside from that, but those performances don't scream like I must play him. So I am just going to pass on Bailey Ober. Noah Cameron is a guy that I probably will play. Dominated the Twins the first time he faced them. He's been best on the road where he's at. Even though his K numbers have taken a hit when on the road. I like the upside. Don't really love the Twins lineup. They haven't been striking out a whole lot, which is worrisome. They did get to Lugo yesterday, but still, I think it's a decent spot for a left-handed pitcher like Cameron. Brewers Mets, I'm going to pass on Tobias Myers and Frankie Montas. Just not guys that I'm overly excited to use. I passed on Woodruff and Senga yesterday, so it makes sense to pass on these two since they're definitely a step or two below those two guys. Probably more like 2 or 3 steps below. But Miami, Atlanta, Game 2. Alcantara is somebody that I'm going to use. He's super volatile, but he does flash some of his former stuff. He's been absolutely atrocious on the road. I understand. It is dangerous. But when things come together, he does still have the upside we need. So he is somebody I want to utilize. And Eric Fedde is somebody that I am not going to even consider. Philadelphia and Texas, 2 pitchers that we're definitely using. DeGrom, coming off of a ridiculously dominant start, has the ability to put up big numbers. Even against Detroit here in this start. Oh, I scrolled down. That makes more sense. I thought I remembered that he had given up some home runs recently. Not sure why it scrolled way down, but let's start over on the ground. We know what kind of upside he has. He did it 3 starts ago, 31 fantasy points. Strikeouts were there. But we know that he's going to give up some home runs. 10 of them over his last 6 starts. It's a big number for a guy like DeGrom. Philadelphia hits home runs, so it is going to be a volatile matchup, but there is K upside, and there is weak stretches, or are weak stretches in that Philadelphia lineup. Add in that he's been absolutely dominant at home, especially from a home runs allowed standpoint. Big difference between the two. I think it's a good spot. It's not a safe spot, but it's definitely a pretty good spot. Luzardo, bounced back the last couple strong performances. Has had some really extreme ups and downs so far this season. When he's not walking guys, he's putting up pretty strong performances. He can have a home run issue as well. I like left-handed pitching against the Rangers enough that I think Luzardo is a pretty solid GPP option. Definitely not somebody at this point that we want to trust in cash games, but definitely somebody I want to use for GPPs. Next game, the Cubs in St. Louis. Payante, not really interested in him. He was decent against the Cubs first time and still only put up 6 fantasy points. Just 2 runs allowed. Just not really somebody that we want to rely on. Colin Ray, somebody that has put up some strong performances. One of those starts was against St. Louis. I don't think I'm going to get to Ray just because St. Louis doesn't offer a ton of K upside. Like, he only struck out 4 in that start against them. He just managed to get away by giving up just 1 hit, which was a solo home run. I could see him being a decent pitcher today, but he's more of the better real-life pitcher than he is for DFS purposes. Colorado, Arizona, Eduardo Rodriguez, definitely somebody I want to use. We know what kind of K upside Colorado offers. We know that Eduardo Rodriguez is super volatile, like ridiculously volatile. Hasn't gone for more than 17 fantasy points since June 23rd, which is quite the time frame. But that does show us the type of upside he offers. He's just super volatile, like I mentioned. Home runs can come in bunches. Walks can come in bunches. But he's definitely somebody I want in my pool just because he really actually could end up the highest raw point scorer on the slate from a pitching standpoint. I think it's unlikely, but it's possible just with the stuff that he offers. Boston, San Diego. Michael King making his return from the IL. I didn't read up on his minor league rehab. 60-day DL stint. Kind of got rocked in his last outing. Just 61 pitches. I just don't think we can utilize him. I want to like him. I want to be in on him. I just don't know that we're going to see him throw, more than 70, 75 pitches in this spot. Giolito on the other side has been pretty solid for Boston this year, which feels weird to say. One of what ends up being a few pitchers now who's being allowed to throw over 100 pitches somewhat regularly. He has been at his best when on the road with Boston. The overall San Diego lineup isn't overly scary, but they don't offer a ton of K upside. Kind of torn on Giolito. I think based on the pitching on the slate, he's probably going to be in consideration for me, just because we have a lot of names that I'd rather pass on. But I don't feel great about utilizing him. He's just one that I think can get to 20 to 25 fantasy points without having to strike out 7, 8, or 9. He's obviously done it with 5, 6, 5, 4. So it is possible. So that's probably why I'm going to utilize him. I don't feel great about it, though. Toronto and the Dodgers. Blake Snell taking on a hot Toronto team that they did struggle a little bit with Kershaw, which is interesting to see. 2 starts in LA has been pretty solid. His return from the IL wasn't bad. 2 home runs, but 8 strikeouts in 5 innings. Now, it was against the Tampa Bay squad that does generally struggle against left-handed pitching. So, I don't really know if I want to use Blake Snell in this spot against a patient, annoying Toronto team. I don't really want to use Chris Bassett against the Dodgers either, even though Bassett is certainly capable of dominating, strong teams. 28 fantasy points against the Yankees and their offense, even though they've started to struggle. 21 against them, 25.5 against Philadelphia. So he's certainly capable of big performances. 30 against the Mets. I just don't know if I want to utilize him against the Dodgers. He's been pretty bad on the road. I guess more than bad. He's been terrible. So I'm just not sure about Bassett. I think I'd rather use Snell in this game, and that's saying quite a bit because I don't really want to pick on Toronto with a pitcher. Let's game of the night, Logan Evans and Joe Boyle. I just don't think Logan Evans has enough upside for us. He's at his best when at home, extreme home road splits for sure. But, he has just 1 start over 18 fantasy points on the season. I think I'll probably be alright passing. On the other side, Joe Boyle. I kind of want to use him. First 2 appearances of the year were phenomenal. He hasn't been all that great since. He actually shut down the Dodgers last time out. Just didn't pick up any strikeouts. And because he can get a little erratic and walk a couple guys, etc., we do need him to pick up strikeouts. It seems like they just come and go. He either has it or he absolutely does not. We could see him, throw 80, 85 pitches in the 70s back-to-back, but he did get up to 95 pitches a month ago. So the upside to, 90 pitches is probably there. Seattle's offense has been struggling a bit, so I do think I want to consider Boyle as a GPP flyer for me. But there we have it. There's our first look at pitching. If you enjoy what I bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on, get the alert anytime we drop videos here at DFS Army. If you want to join us, get access to our coaches, tools, sheets, Discord, etc., I will put links in the description below. You can use promo code RAZ, that's R-A-Z, for 10% off monthly. And as always, there is our merch store. There will be a link in the description below. You can check out my hoodie, some of the other items that we do have at our merch store, and designs down here at the bottom. Shark Lab one, Fade the Chalk, etc. But there we have it. So as always, best of luck, everybody.